Hey there. Welcome to the Gyro Step Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windisch, joined as always by the finally back in MKE, Rohan Katti. Rohan, welcome back to the city, to the podcast. We've recorded together last week, so it hasn't been that long, but was that the Primo? Did we do our own pod last week? We did. Was that the Sicko pod? I'm out of it too.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the Sicko pod. But also, it's been like a week and a half-ish, which
Yeah.
is long for us. And
Schedule
I
is
was I
all over
was
the
in
place
another
right
city. I
now.
was in
Yeah.
Detroit. It's the good thing is I'm so happy to be back in Milwaukee. I'm not traveling for a little bit. I'm here. I'm ready. It's like when I get back in the great Mitchell International Airport, I'm just like, you know what? We're back,
You
baby.
know you're
We're
glad
back.
to be back if you're
Happy to
calling
be
it the
here. Love
great.
Milwaukee.
You know you're happy to be back if you're calling that airport the great. That is all I'll say on that.
I will say, the Detroit airport is nice, right? It's a
Okay.
it's a nice airport. I don't know why I'm walking 10 years to get out of it. Like
Yeah.
why am I walking so much? It's like a
Every
mile and a half.
every airport is one or the other. It's either you can immediately get somewhere or you have to walk for a mile. There's no in
The
between
good
for some
the
reason.
good thing is it's like everything is wide, so it's like there's no one gets crammed or anything, and you don't
Yeah.
feel like it's super crowded. So that's nice. Like it's a nice airport, don't get me wrong, but it's like why am I walking so much? I'm in Detroit.
New
Great city,
segment.
by the way. I've never been there.
I have never been there. New segment airport reviews brought to you by no one, but you could get it on this. We are presented by Prize Picks, our pals over there this episode. So if you want Rohan to review an airport on your behalf, sponsors, get in touch with us. I'm sure you could talk about some other ones. You've been what, New Orleans? I'm
I've
sure
been I've
O'Hare
been to a
you could
lot of
talk speak
airports in
to.
this
Yeah.
country, yeah.
Worldwide probably.
Yeah. I'll talk about airports all day long. That's my next primo.
So
I'm
I
just
think
going to go solo on airports.
the only worldwide one, I went to the Aruba airport. And it's like they know what they're
Ooh.
doing. They know what they're doing. I was 16. They know what they're doing though, right? In and out. I declared nothing. I was like Michael Scott. I was like, what should I declare? Something about myself? And they're like, just keep you. You're an idiot kid. Just go. I was like, okay, I will. Anyway, we're here to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We're here to talk about the whole East, actually. We did our win projections on GSPN After Dark, our GSPN Plus premium show last week with the lovely Jordan Tresky. So make sure to subscribe and check out that episode for all of our takes on the West. We're going to do the East today. But first, we got Bucks legend news. This actually came out last week, but it became official today. Junior Bridgeman, Bucks a retired number, Junior Bridgeman. He's a franchise legend, I would say, one of the great NBA sixth men of all time, and very
I don't even
successful.
think you have to say I would say. Very, very cemented as a Bucks legend.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean that it was just my opinion, but yeah, 100%. There's no doubt. Also, an incredibly successful businessman, the current owner of Ebony and Jet magazines, who is got a limited partner discount to buy 10% of the Milwaukee Bucks, which is a big percentage for a former player. I mean, I think that kind of gets overlooked with, LeBron's looking to own the team in Vegas and some of the players now making all their money. Bridgman played for the Bucks at a time when, it was a lot harder, we'll say, for former players to turn those game checks into significant business. But he has done very, very well for himself. The 70-year-old Bucks legend is now not a controlling partner owner in the team, not on the level of Edens or Haslam, but significant ownership of a hugely valuable pro sports team. Very cool moment for Junior Bridgman, and cool that the Bucks, quote unquote, gave him a discount to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 10% buy. This is according to, what is it, CNBC, that he bought 10% of the stake of the Milwaukee Bucks, which values the team at $4 billion.
Yeah.
So 10% of 4 billion, that's around $400 million. That's a very significant purchase considering just 10 years ago the Bucks sold for less than $600 million in total.
That's
Uh,
wild.
Crazy, right? Uh, but yeah, Junior Bridgman coming into this ownership group, it's always here's my thing. Junior Bridgeman is a guy who didn't make a ton of money during his NBA career, right?
Max
He
350,000 in a single season.
exactly. I mean, like a lot compared to now.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a lot of money, but he is a guy who's very much succeeded as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, in the NBA landscape. He's one of the top 5 or 10 most like net in terms of net worth for NBA players in general overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to see that being reinvested in the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's net worth of $600 million. Usually I don't like to do the whole it's great that a person made this much money, but Junior Bridgman's awesome. So if there was ever someone to be excited about it for, I think it's him. His number 2's been retired since 1988, further cementing the Bucks legend claim. But yeah, just a very cool thing. Nothing new, I would say, come out of this. For anyone who saw today, the news was like, Haslam will be there introducing Bridgman. I saw there was a little bit of like, oh, is he buying part of Eden's stake? Is Eden's out? The press release just has co-owners Wes Edens, D and Jimmy Haslam, Jamie Dinan, and Mike Fascitelli. So it seems like the 10% came out of somewhere else, and that makes sense. Like if you're Wes Edens,
it was Aaron Rodgers.
I think Aaron Rodgers had like
on his
0.5%. I mean, Aaron Junior Bridgman seeing Aaron Rodgers' contract, and he's like, "That's cute. That's not bad. You know, I own 500 Wendy's and Chili's. That's the real money right there." But it wouldn't make sense. Like, why would you sell 10% of your 25% that gets you a controlling share? Like, I think if Edens was going to sell, it'd be the whole stake, and maybe it would be to a Haslam. Who knows? But it seems like
I was
going
to
to
say it would probably be to Haslam.
Yeah.
Yes. It would be rare for a team who is getting this much value, like this high of a valuation, considering Eden's initial investment, to be able to sell. But I don't know. Mark Lasry got scared. Who knows?
The Storm.
Leaving.
The Storm. I think this is like a $800 or $600 million increase from the valuation of when Haslam bought in too. So even in the shorter term, another big increase for the Milwaukee Bucks as a franchise, which makes sense. I mean, all NBA teams, right? The new TV deal is here. The new CBA is here. All the numbers are going up. They're going to continue to go up in at least the near future. So yeah, good. Cool to see though for Junior Bridgman. Congrats to him.
Yeah. And who knows? Are we going to get the Irish Rainbow throwbacks?
You think it'd be closer now? They're going to give us anything before the Purple Deer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to wait?
Speaking of those purple.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Speaking of purple, do you see Dame's new release?
No.
No?
What did Dame release?
It's the new Dame 9 colorway. It's like it's a green and purple colorway of the Dame 9.
That's not where I thought you were going. I didn't see that. I'll have to look at that. I thought you were going to talk about the leaked jerseys that every team looks terrible. Did you miss this?
Let's not even acknowledge
Let's wait till it's real. Yeah.
No, I saw it. Yeah.
We can wait till that's official when the Bucks actually release a jersey. But so far, I mean, I hope they're not real because every team looks very, very bad, which we've been saying, like the whole Nike thing of doing basically 2 new jerseys every year. There was no other option but for them to start looking bad. But they look very bad right now.
100%. They look very, very bad. And let's comment on it when it's official.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. And hope that it's not actually going to be official. But okay, let's do the Eastern Conference over-unders. We've got 15 teams to go through. Yeah, I don't know why I questioned that for a second. We'll save the Bucks for last, as is customary. Up first, again, this list, if you listen to the Primo Pod, we don't know how it's ordered. So don't come for me and say, Ty, this order, what are you doing? This is the order. The Bucks were listed first here, second, Orlando Magic. And no, trust me, it's not in wins. It's not alphabetical. It's not geographical. No one's figured it out yet. The greatest scholars of our time in the Discord are working on it. But the Orlando Magic, the number is set at 48.5. Last year, they won 47. So basically, this question is KCP worth 1 win or 2 wins or more or less? than that. So a lot of these actually are pretty similar to last year. It seems like the odds makers are anticipating it being difficult to see who's going to rise or fall in a kind of crowded top half of the East here.
Yeah, it's a high number. When I first saw that, I was like, oh, 48 and a half wins the Orlando Magic. And then you think about it, 47 last year. They only got better as a team. Paolo's only getting better. Franz is only getting better. Jonathan Isaac might play basketball
Yeah.
because he was playing last year. So who knows? This team actually kind of fits together. And you know what they kind of remind this is I think I might be a little overselling it. They remind me of the early version of the Boston Celtics,
Oh,
of this iteration of the Boston Celtics. In terms of like they're a young team with good stars coming together and they all kind of fit together, right? You're making, and again, they're obviously worse than that. They're worse. But you get your additions. You get your Derek White in KCP. This is where it falls apart. But it's like those types of additions where like, yeah, that's a plug and play type guy. He's going to fit in really, really well here. Do I think that they're going to get 50 wins? They might. They might. They don't have to though for this to be over 48 and a half.
I think my question with this is the rest of the East better or worse? Because I agree. I think Orlando's a little better. I think the Knicks, I don't know if they're going to be better or worse than last year. They're coming in with some big questions. Same with Boston. I think Boston will win a ton, but Cleveland is pretty much the same. I think Indiana could be a little better. The Sixers will probably be better. Heat might be worse. Bulls worse. Hawks probably worse. I don't really know, to be honest. Nets worse. Raptors maybe better. Hornets maybe better. Pistons supposedly better. I don't know what to. This is a really good one. This is a really hard one to start with. I don't have a good feel for it. I'm going to say under. I just wonder if they've kind of poked at the ceiling of what this team can do without a better half-court offense. And unless I think there's big leaps from Paolo and Franz in terms of spacing the floor, I don't know if KCP is enough to quote-unquote fix their spacing. So I think they're going to be right around this number, but I'm going to go a slight under and say probably 48 or maybe just 47 again, because I don't know if they've made a stride. We'll see. It depends on player development. I think
I think you're banking on the internal development, which is fine for a team as young as they are.
Yeah.
Like I think Paolo might be one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
Maybe.
This is a dude who can be an absolute freaking game changer in terms of like a prospect. I'm not saying he's one of the best players in the league or anything.
Well,
but in terms of like him as a prospect, getting better, continuing to dominate, like this is a guy who showed off a lot of good passing vision last year as well. Like it can really come together for them. And I'm banking on this being the year that it's just like, okay, is Paolo like an MVP candidate?
Oh, well then, yeah, that would change a lot of things. I'm going to be a wait and see guy on that one for now, but I'm assuming you're going over then.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're already at odds. Let's see if that continues. The Indiana Pacers, one lower, actually, despite going to the conference finals. They won 47 last year, same as Orlando. Really bunched up wins. New York in second won 50. Philly in seventh won 47. So it was a very close conference last year. We'll see how it shakes out this year. But the Pacers also won 47, so it's basically right where they were last season. Do they get a win better or do they plateau? I'm going to say over. I actually think they went through more struggles last season than people recognize, like Halliburton's injury, and when he came back, he clearly wasn't the same guy, really, like until playoffs, and kind of not even then. And they only had Pascal for half the year. I think people are bored because they didn't make
Mathurin.
And Mathurin, which we'll see how helpful that is, but they also were without Mathurin for a lot of the year. I thought Nembhard took a big step in the playoffs. My biggest question for them long term is like, is he really that guy or was he that guy for 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Like, there is kind of a difference that doesn't always carry over. But if it does at all, I think they're really talented. They know how to play together. Like, there's no question they know what to do to score. I like their team, so I'm going to say over. I think they're sniffing around 50, and I think I like They're farther along than Orlando. Orlando is probably going to be better than them in a year or 2 years, but right now I think Siakam is maybe also a little underrated. I think they have a lot of momentum from that playoff run.
I think they do have a lot of momentum from that playoff run. I mean, like, this is a team that really just kind of took off, especially with Pascal, and like Obi Toppin was out here shooting like 70% from three or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't know. I kind of this okay. I have to admit, this is a little bit of the hater in me. I don't
Yeah.
like the Indiana Pacers. I don't. So I think they kind of caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
It kind of feels that way, doesn't it? Like,
not as much as
can,
that Hawks team, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe not as much as a Hawks team, but this is a team that it's like, wait, how did they make the conference finals? Like,
Yeah.
can you do it again? Probably not.
I agree with that.
I'm going under.
Okay. Do you think far under, or they're just hovering around mid to high 40s?
I'd say mid to high 40s.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be like a terrible, terrible year. Like, oh, they're going to be under 500 or something. No, I don't think that.
Yeah.
But I think they're just going to have to lean into some struggles. Like, it was an exceptionally healthy year for Miles Turner. Is that going to take place again? Like, otherwise, your backup is what? James Wiseman?
Yeah, the bench I don't love. They also have my guy Isaiah Jackson.
Is TJ McConnell going to continue with this devil magic on this new contract?
That I think year 1, year 2 of that contract is going to be good. I think year 4 of that contract they're going to be going, why did we sign up for this again? But yeah, listen, again, I don't think they're built to be great for the next 5 years with this current core, but I do think like this is kind of their sweet spot with those veteran players like this season to capitalize. So I'm going to ride with them. I think I've become a Fever fan, the Indiana Fever, and all the Pacers players keep going to the games. I feel like that softened me up to the Pacers, so I don't hate them as much anymore.
You don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. Kelsey Mitchell didn't have that dog in her. That's all I got to say. We need some big changes. I'm glad that got a new GM in place. Let's get the roster. Let's get the coaching staff. Let's be serious around Caitlin Clark. Okay. Enough WNBA. We'll do a WNBA. I'd probably do a primo soon on the finals or something. Charlotte Hornets next up for some reason. 30.5. They won. This is actually pretty aggressive. They won 21 last year. So they'd have to win 10 more to go over. I mean, that's a default under for me.
Like it's LaMelo, right? It's all about LaMelo and what he does, right?
Yeah. And Miles Bridges.
Nah.
I think that's baked into there too. I think it's the combo. Yeah. LaMelo played 22. I mean, LaMelo played
22. Yeah. Like that's the make or break, right? Like, is your best player going to be playing a lot of games? Like, yeah, that'd be great. Is Brandon Miller going to take off this year? Is Josh Green going to really fit in under a new setting? Like, they just kind of got Josh Green for free. They're like, hey, here's a Josh Green, like, who played well. Like, here, have him.
I saw a promotional picture of him, like, the teams put out, like, holding a ball or whatever. He looks so sad. I don't blame him. Going from Dallas in the finals to Charlotte in the final spots of the East has got to not be a good feeling.
Yeah, he's Grant Williams is like first time.
Yeah. Did you see that the Wisconsin Muse did like the greatest sports photo of all time, and it was like a military jet flying over Camp Randall?
Yeah.
Somebody quote tweeted and said, "Respect Grant Williams' pole," and it's this pole in Charlotte's arena with a Hornets photo of Grant Williams wrapped around it. I don't know why, but it just cracked me up.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I just realized the double entendre there. Let's move on.
Todd Gibson still in the NBA.
Oh my God, under.
Or does he? Or I think Taj Gibson's a good vet for them. Like, can you guys get your act together?
That is probably his full-time job, isn't it? Like, hey, let's not drive a go-kart on the roof of a building.
Can you call? Can you call? I think that's that's the least of their concerns.
That's true.
The go-kart on top of the building was actually kind of endearing. It's the can you leave the arena without hitting someone?
Yeah.
Can you get Miles Bridges off your team? Can you do anything? Like get your act together. Plus Charles Lee there could
Yeah.
be a big game changer for them. They have
Wants
a
him
new
to play
coach.
defense.
I realize I haven't really said an over or under. 30 and a half, I'm going over. I'm banking on LaMelo playing way more than 22 games next year. And I respect Charles Lee.
I do too.
I don't think this team got better though. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Did they get better?
Who'd they draft? Salon?
Yeah.
Not really an instant impact guy. Yeah, I think if they go over, it's just because they're healthy, and then they're like Brooklyn falls off a cliff. Chicago is maybe worse. Like Washington's still bad, but I think like even if they're healthy-ish, they might to me still be worse than a Toronto. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do with the Pistons. We'll get to the Pistons. I think they could still be worse than Atlanta. Like I still think they're a bottom 5 team in the East. So I just don't know if that still gets you to 31. Maybe it does. That's not a high number. I'm just going to go under. Like LaMelo played, I think, 30-some the year before. So I'd be kind of surprised if he went from 60 combined to like 70 games this year. And there's just so much other crap going on. I do respect and root for Charles Lee. I just think they need to purge this roster a little bit more. If Brandon Miller's really good, though, that changes a lot for them. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I'm gonna go over, and I don't feel good about it. Like I think if they get 31 wins, that's a massive success.
Oh yeah, I mean at 10 wins, and
or they gonna just be a team that's all in for Cooper Flag.
I think it all depends how like the rest of this year, calendar year goes. That's probably when they make that decision.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Next on the list is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, I'll take the under. Alex Sarr, what was he? 0 for 15 in a game in Summer League? Give me the under, buddy.
I love how I didn't even say the line and you said under.
I have it in front of me.
I know.
Expect them to be better, which is crazy. Sorry. Go on with go set us up here. I apologize.
It's 20 and a half wins. This is a team that won 15 games last year. It's honestly disrespectful to an NBA franchise to have a line at 20 and a half wins. But honestly, it's kind of fair.
It's too high.
It's fair.
Denny Avdia was their ex-best player last year. Top 3? Top 4? And they traded him for rookies? But he's gone. They traded him for rookies. They have all these rookies that probably have to play. They still have Jordan Poole. Kuzma's still there. Like, they have some NBA players, but I fell for this last year. I was like, oh, they could be respectable. They're not respectable. They're not. And they got younger. I think they're going to be as bad. Under.
They have some NBA players. I would be shocked if Kyle Kuzma is still a Wizard at the end of at this time next year.
Yeah.
Or by the trade deadline. I think he's going to be gone. Because he's an actual player.
Yeah.
He can actually help like a title contender or like a playoff team. It's bad. It's really bad. This is a team that last year just got a new GM. They're going full tank mode. They're going to be like, hey, Cooper Flag, Maine is close enough to Washington in the grand scheme of things. It's fine. We're not the Celtics, but it's okay. We're close enough. So please come and save us.
Yeah, this is a team. I said Charlotte, they'll see. Like Washington going into the year, it's like, we want all the ping pong balls, buddy. Like we need Cooper Flag, or it's a loaded class, right? If you have a top 3 pick, I think you feel pretty good. Cooper is different, but they definitely want one of those players. I like Kispert. Like I like some of their guys, but it's not a complete team, and I think they're going to be incentivized to see what they have with their young players and to be bad. So yeah, I agree with you. They did add Valanciunas on a very reasonable deal, but literally everyone is like, they're going to trade him too by the deadline, which they probably will. So, yeah, I think I just like, why would they be 6 wins better? I don't see a reason for that.
I think he's there just to say, hey, Alex Sarr, here's how you do big guy things.
Yeah, here's how to set a screen, buddy.
Yeah. Like you're not you don't have the body type of me yet, but like here's how you do like big guy things.
I
Here's how
don't
you
think,
screen. Here's how you go get.
yeah. If they ever have the same body type, I'll be really concerned about Alex Sarr's career going forward. But yeah, I agree. And just to let you know, at least have like a guy who can set screens for their young guards as well. And Poole is probably nice. They obviously traded away Gafford last year. But yeah, really bad team, I think.
Very bad. I'm going under if that wasn't clear. You're going
Okay.
under as well.
Yep. Our first
Uh,
agreement.
yeah. Next on the list in this weird order, we have the Atlanta Hawks, where the line is 35 and a half wins. Atlanta was not very good
36.
last year. They
36
won
last year.
36 and 46. No DeJounte Murray anymore. Whether
Yeah.
that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll see. It probably frees up Trae Young to be more efficient, more on ball, doing things that he succeeds at. But this team is not very good.
No. Usually you pick first in the draft and you think that's going to help us year one. I don't really know if it does with Risa Shea. I was vocally not a fan of him going into the draft. I also, just to stress, don't know much and nobody knows everything about how these guys will turn out. Maybe he ends up being very good. Maybe not. I'd probably lean more toward the not. I think Atlanta still has a pretty respectable, like you can go through and build respectable lineups here, right? Trae Young, Bogdan, who was very good last year. Everyone loves Jalen Johnson. Obviously, they're trying to trade Capella for 5 years now. They still have him. They still have Okongwu. They still have, why am I blanking on the wing who never stays healthy?
Oh, no.
You know who I'm talking about? He was
Yeah.
kind of a hot trade
What's
deadline name like all their players. Like, people kind of wanted him 2 years ago. I'm totally forgetting this guy's name. Obviously, Risa Shea as well. It's like there's a decent team here.
Hunter.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter. Thank you. There's a decent team here. I'm going to say a
They got my guy Larry
over.
Nance.
Yeah, a good player, right? There's good players. I think Trae is
Dyson
good.
Daniels could fit in right next to Trae really well.
Don't know if he's good, but they do need defense, so that is helpful. I say over. I think they're low 30s to high 30s to 500 team. Like I think real NBA players, which you cannot say about some of these other teams we're talking. Oh my God, I just saw Brooklyn's line is lower than Washington. We can't say that about all of these teams, but I can say it about the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks, I know I prefaced this by saying it's not a very good team, but I just think the bottom of the East is so bad. And like the middle of the East is like, you can get a win. Like that Hawks team has NBA players where you can go out there and say, hey, I understand how this team wins a basketball game. I can't say that about a lot of teams in the East, a lot of the teams in the sort of middle of the pack and at the bottom. So I'll take the over here. I think it probably ends up being like 37 or 36. They might just have the same record as they did last year.
Yeah.
But I think that speaks to how really badly and poorly they managed the DeJounte Murray trade.
Yeah.
And just like that situation, like, oh, maybe going all in on a second guard wasn't ideal. I like DeJounte Murray. I think he's going to fit in well in New Orleans. But like, okay, we've got no assets now, but we also traded that guy for peanuts and Larry Nance. Please send him to the Bucks. But hey, you guys will love Bobby Portis. He'll provide some offense for you.
They have that John Collins sized hole he could fit right into.
Yep. So we shall see, but I'm gonna take the over on the Hawks.
Yeah, agreed. Probably not gonna. Well, we'll see. The Brooklyn Nets, the number 19.5. Brooklyn's biggest offseason acquisition. Not Ben Simmons back in the gym for the 5th straight offseason. Not, I couldn't really name that many other players they added. No, Brooklyn Nets' biggest offseason acquisition was the Brooklyn Nets 2025 first round pick. They want to be bad. They're going to be bad. They won 32 last year, which almost seems incredible at this point that they did that. Obviously, they did have, oh my God, Mikal Bridges. I wanted to call him Jalen. I don't know why. They have Mikal Bridges. They don't have him now. I'm really torn on this because
Lonnie Walker was good for them.
Lonnie Walker was good for them. He is gone. Dennis Smith Jr. was good for them. He is gone, signed nowhere right now.
He's in the ether for some reason.
God, playing for the Nets just like ruins your chances of being an NBA player. That's crazy.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker was a good player for the Brooklyn Nets, and now he's signed in Exhibit 10 deals. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's the best case for expansion.
Yeah, 100%. Markelle Fultz should be on a team. Like, not a clean
Markelle
fit,
Fultz
but what's going on?
Could be like a sixth man of the year type candidate on a good team.
I agree.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But this Nets team is going to be bad. They're going to be very bad. I mean, you bring in Killian Hayes as a tank commander, right? That's what he's doing there.
I forgot about that. Oh boy.
I mean, they got your guy Shake Milton. They have Bojan Bogdanovic, if Bojan Bogdanovic plays 20 games for the Brooklyn Nets, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
He's not healthy coming in, right?
I think he might be, he might not be, but he's not gonna play for them, right?
No.
Like, does he have a charity or something? Like, if he plays 20 games, I'll donate $100 to his charity.
I don't know if Bojan is a charity. They do have some decent vets, but I think not as good as people think. I think Schroeder's a good NBA player. I think Dorian Finney-Smith has become really overrated by a lot of people every trade deadline, where they think he's this ace 3-and-D player. I don't know if he's an ace at either, but he's still there. Cam Johnson's still there. I kind of think teams look at him and they're like, we could find a shooter who makes a lot less than $20 million a year for the next 3 years or whatever. Like, there's obviously some NBA players here. I don't think they have the offensive engine that you need. They have Cam Thomas, who is like a scorer.
They got Ben Simmons.
What kind of lineups? They still have Nick Claxton. Like, none of these players fit together at all. They have almost no spacing outside of Cam Johnson and Bojan, if he actually exists. But 19.5 is so low, dude.
It's so low. It's so low. Only 2 teams last year finished with fewer wins than 19.
And their coach is Jordi Fernandez, who is a highly regarded offensive mind, has not been a head coach. We'll see, but like Charlotte with 20 games of LaMelo won 21 games.
Yeah. But I think Charlotte has better players than this Nets team. Or had better players.
My only holdup is the 32 last year. I have to. Is Mikal Bridges really a 12-win player? Maybe. Like, when the margins are like this, maybe he is.
Yeah, it's relying on 82 games of Mikal Bridges, right? It's like you get a full season of that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, man. 19.5 is so low that I kind of want to say over, but I also think this is going to be the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm going to go under. I'm not going to talk myself into rooting for this horrible team to win. I don't think they fit well. I know they want the 32 still concerns me, but I'm going to go under. I think there's still going to be 2 teams in the teens, and I think we've identified which 2 now. Oh God, I don't want to rely on your Pistons. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm going to go under on the very low number here.
I'll say under as well.
This next one, not fun to talk about. Boston Celtics, who won 64 games and a championship last year. The line is 58.5, which is high, but I mean, how much does the Porzingis thing worry? Is that the only question here? How much does the Porzingis thing worry you? I mean, they kept all their depth, including the role players who we all made fun of, but then annoyingly had very good playoffs, like Hauser and Pritchard. I'm going to say over. Like, I still think they're probably the best team in the league. I think they're going to win most nights, even without. I mean, they barely had KP in the finals or in the playoffs, and they still kind of steamrolled. I think they're just better. I'm going to take over, even if they win less than last year. I don't think they win 6 less.
Yeah, I mean, this team is it's a monster. They're the best team in the NBA. They're going to play like it. They're just a machine. It's just going to be annoying. It's always going to be annoying. Like, here's the thing: is Jaylen Brown? It's going to be just like, is it Tatum versus Brown? Did Kerr really play to seed? Like, this is just like, no, it's not real,
no,
right?
That stuff does not happen. That stuff does not, and especially those 2 guys who have fought that off for like literally a decade at this point. I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
rear its ugly head now that they've actually won.
No. And like it's assuming good health. They had guys in and out, but they just have too many good players. It's
Yeah,
just like you're always going to be fielding a competent lineup.
yeah.
It's an
They have
over.
redundancies. They lose one of the Jays. Oh, we have another star forward. You lose one of Derek White or Drew. It's like, oh, we have another, defense first, ball moving, initiating guard. And then the bigs, it's a little thinner without Porzingis for sure, but like Kata has played well for them. Cornette's filled in. Horford obviously is,
Tillman,
pissing hot. And Tillman. Oh yeah, I forgot Tillman. So yeah, they have guys.
so annoying. I
It's
hate it.
annoying.
It really bothers me.
Yeah. Are you going over?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, me too. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's move on from the over unders to the more thans, less thans, and our friends at Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active members. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, where all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. I don't usually speak to the audience with this kind of urgency, but folks, it is the last weekend in September, the last time to take advantage of one Caleb Williams passing yard, getting you one win on Prize Picks every week in September. Thankfully, his team doesn't need to win. They don't do that very often. He doesn't need to have a great game. He doesn't do that very often. That's okay. We can all laugh together as we win because 100 yards is still way more than one. And that's what Caleb Williams has been doing. And that's gone when September ends, which again, very soon. October is next week, which means basketball is coming up. I can't wait for that. Also, women's basketball going strong. I was one away from winning a 6-pick projection. Kelsey Mitchell. I had that. The animosity is clouding my judgment.
Oh
She had a bad series regardless of that. I will say, dribbled it off her foot, whatever. But anyway, you can get on the action too. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code Eurostep and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code Eurostep on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus, which is good for players like me. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Speaking of running game, the Miami Heat. Not a smooth transition. They have not been running the game for a couple of years here. They did not run for the offseason. What? Zach Lowe got laid off?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. That sucks. I mean, I'm sure he's going to land somewhere very, very good that's going to offer him the ability to do the same things. But, wow, ESPN's personnel changes sure are continuing. That's wild.
Yeah, that's a wild one. I haven't seen the source of this, so that's why I didn't say
Andrew Marchand at the Athletic. So it's legit.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
senior writer covering sports media.
What does ESPN's NBA coverage look like now?
Yeah, no Woj, no Lowe. Pelton, Marks.
Lowe's going to the Ringer, right?
And
Like that's guaranteed.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's
they did just lose a big NBA person. Are they going to flip flop or no? KOC went to Yahoo, right?
Yeah, he went to Yahoo.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's a weird landscape. Like I'll do 2 minutes on this. It's a weird landscape about like how NBA coverage is going now. Like it's at a tipping point, right? Like ESPN is holding all the cards to be able to make this choice. They are in an era of such unprecedented change for how their coverage is. They could go multiple ways. They could go like for the Woj replacement. They could go throw a bag at Shams, right? He's a free agent. They could just continue and fully lean in. He can be that guy and contribute to even worse coverage, right? He can do that. They could go and rectify I won't say rectify previous mistakes, but when they brought on Woj, they got rid of a lot of people. Like you could go get a more nuanced type guy like Mark Stein to go be your lead NBA person. You could
Yep.
elevate a guy like Brian Windhorst, who, for all his viral content that
Dude.
he creates, he is someone who genuinely cares about the game of basketball. It seems
People
like.
care too much about this stuff, though. Like the report that came out, like Windhorst is ready to step into a bigger role.
That
Like,
was crazy.
why are we covering this like a team?
It
Like,
was crazy.
Windhorst is like, I need more usage, man. I'm next up.
It was a him or me,
Yeah,
Thon Maker trade request.
yeah,
But like, they could go multiple routes. Like, there's so many, and especially with a guy like Lowe leaving, who I haven't been a fan of Zach Lowe for the last couple of years. I think he's kind of fallen off. But a guy who really revolutionized NBA coverage. Like, he was
yeah,
the premier go-to writer, like, because he would actually be like a detailed, nuanced writer about basketball.
yeah.
And it's a very important next like 2 weeks to determine how the NBA landscape is really going to be covered.
Yeah, really shitty for him that they do it now. Like, not a month ago when he would have had more time. I mean, the season starts in a couple of weeks here, basically.
Media days
part
are
of it
already
sucks.
happening.
Yeah, Boston Celtics media day has happened. The Bucks is in like 2 weeks or something like that. So probably will be things moving fast there. But yeah, I think Zach Lowe. Listen, I don't love his Bucks coverage lately as well. I agree with you that and I think really did it in a way when analytics was like over popular. Lowe was always a guy who would include the numbers, but there was always so much eye test in what he did, and I think that style has really taken off. And now we see like the dunker spot, which fittingly he had Steve Jones on one of his last couple of Low posts. Like Steve Jones and Nekias Duncan are great. Like stuff like that has become a lot more popular, which I think is good. And yeah, we'll see. Something tells me ESPN is not going to make the choice that ball knowers rejoice about, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Should GSPN get involved here?
We'll see.
Zach Lowe, hit us up.
Yeah, we're gonna Low Post. Do you want to be a part of GSPN? Make it happen.
Not to go full, cheap owners that I've railed against, but I don't think we can swing that one. We'd have to get real creative with the stock options here.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, we got to do our IPOs soon.
Oh yeah, thank God you remembered that. Now we have something to do next week, but until then, the Miami Heat, who have been putting off the Jimmy Butler extension till next week for a few months now, actually almost disrespectful number of 44.5. I mean, they won 46 last year, so it's not crazy low, but it is lower than I think I would generally expect any Heat team to be placed. Still have Jimmy, still have Bam, still have Tyler Hero, Rozier, yada yada. They drafted our love Kel'el Ware in the first round. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm probably going to, without thinking too much, really.
Under.
Wow.
This is Jimmy Butler not getting an extension. We've seen what happens in this situation. We've seen it. There's evidence. Like the last 3 teams he's been on, where it's like, okay, yeah, I do a lot for your franchise, and I'd like to be compensated for that in a fair market sort of situation. They're like, nah, we'll do it next year. And it's like, no, this is like, no, like we're not doing this. This is not. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work well. They still have good players. That don't get me wrong, but like you've seen the wheels start to fall off a little bit, right? They weren't as good as they were the previous year, obviously, where they made the finals. They like lose guys like Caleb Martin, who was like okay for them. They're good. Like he was an important contributor for them.
Won a conference finals for them against Boston.
Yeah, he was the first or second Eastern Conference Finals MVP or something.
Yeah.
Did he get that? Did he actually get that? No, I
don't know if he got it. He should have got it. He should have got it.
But yeah, like these guys are leaving. Like guys are getting older. Like Kevin Love it's a very important player for them, and he's getting up there in age. Like Bam's still really good. Like don't get me wrong on that. But do you have enough pieces to contribute? Like there are teams in the East getting a lot better. Like we talked about the first team we talked about, the Orlando Magic, a team that's on the rise, getting better. Indiana, I took the under, but I still think they're getting better. Like these teams are getting like they're passing by the Heat in the Eastern Conference. Like Philly got better. Philly was a team that would regularly get beat up by the Heat in regular season. We all know about the postseason, but they got better. We're going to talk about Philly later. Even though I don't necessarily know how much I like their team, they got better. Like the Heat have not gotten better; they've got worse. And we've seen only for a few games before he got hurt, but Terry Rozier was not the answer. Maybe it's a very small sample size to say that. And like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here to say like, okay, now full off season, he hopefully recovered from his injury, and now these guys know that he's their point guard, not Kyle Lowry or whoever anymore. But this team, like, I don't, they didn't get better, and I think there's going to be more turmoil.
I agree, but the teams you said that are going to be better than them were already above them. So my thing with Miami is I just expect they'll probably be around the same place, but I don't look below them and see a lot of teams where I'm like, yeah, I think they're legit better than the Heat. Like, could the Hawks be? I don't feel great about it. They could be, but I don't love it. Like Toronto,
I don't know if they're necessarily going to be better. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be better, but I don't think it's going to be as easy for the Heat to get these wins.
I mean, does Jimmy show up more? I agree with you. I think the situation is more fraught than anyone is saying. I also wonder, like, is he going to be a little realistic and say, like, you know, are that many teams lining up to trade for me right now?
Bro, it's Jimmy Butler. What are we doing?
I know. But he's in Miami versus Minnesota. That probably makes a difference. He can be all mad and go hang out with.
He did it in Chicago.
He didn't, did he? Oh, yeah, he didn't. Still, though. None of those have Camila Cabello on the beach. He's got a better situation.
That's not. I don't know if that's a good thing. Not the type of person you would really want to associate with.
Fair. I'm not going to act like I know Camila Cabello lore. I'm going to go over, but not by much. But I still think they're like a. I see what you're saying. I'm not going to let it. This is to me. I'm putting myself in a win-win here. Either I'm wrong and the Heat are bad, which is great, or I get to be right and they continue to like find ways to crank out 47 wins and make people afraid of them come playoff time.
Yeah, I guess. But it's just I don't know. It's a hater in me maybe coming out a little more, but I'm gonna take the under.
Just saw something you sent me about that. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Havana, ooh, nah.
No.
Nah. New York Knicks. The Knickerbockers at 53.5. That's a word you have to be very careful when you say. They won 50 last year, but their whole team was in and out of the lineup, although more in playoffs. And they really kind of still have a team that seems like it's going to be in and out of the lineup, including their starting center, who is not going to be healthy, including Julius Randle, who is not going to be healthy, including OG Anunoby, who did miss a lot of last season and is regularly not healthy. The healthiest players are Jalen Brunson, a small point guard, Dante DiVincenzo, who has certainly struggled with injuries, and Josh Hart, who is very resilient but did have his own injuries in the playoffs. I am actually going to go slight under. I think the Knicks are really good. I think they're deep. They're going to lean into that. I still think they'll win a lot of games. I don't think they're going to be like a juggernaut in the regular season because of these injury concerns. And I kind of think Tibbs, with all these players, is actually going to lean off of the primaries a little bit. Maybe I laugh at that, when they're 2 weeks in and Brunson's averaging 44 minutes per game. But I'm going to go under. Also, there's I want to see how everything fits. It's a really new team they haven't played with before. So I think they're really good. I think they're a legit playoff threat to everyone, but I'm going to go under on 53.5.
I'm going to take the slight over.
Okay.
It's a team that clearly fits well together, and you say they haven't played. They all went to the same college.
Most of them.
They did. I know. I'm saying that in jest.
Yeah.
But it's a team that fits, and it's a team even without Julius Randle for a lot of time last year was still winning games. They lost Hartenstein, but hopefully you can get some more production out of Mitchell Robinson this year. You still have Precious Achua, who returned on a 1-year deal, it's probably going to be a prove it deal for him. Like he thinks he can get more on the market, so he's going to be very, very motivated to play really well. And of course, you get Mikal Bridges, who's an Iron Man of the NBA, and hopefully, knock on wood, continue to be that. I think this is a team that already has a lot of good chemistry. They just have to add a guy who was overcast in a leading role, I'd say, in Mikal Bridges, but really successful in previous stints as like a third or a second option. And it's like, yeah, that's where he's really supposed to be. The Chris Middleton comparisons are so unavoidable. But I think it's going to be a really good team. I think they're going to come out of the gate and just start racking up wins when they're healthy. And if injuries start to hit them, they'll have a bit of a cushion, but still be able to win. I'm going to take the slight over. I don't think they go crazy or get like 57, 58 wins or something like that. But could I see them winning 54? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably safer. It's probably safer to go under. I see where you're coming from. Like it's the safe prediction to say under, but I don't know. I like the team. I think they're going to be good. I'll say over.
That's fair. I don't feel very strongly about it. To me, knowing everything we know about the players and their statuses, I think closer to 50. But they could easily. I wouldn't be shocked if they went over this for sure. I think the East overall mostly has been kind of tough with a few exceptions. Chicago Bulls. They won 39 last year, and it is at 27.5. They lose DeMar DeRozan. They swap Caruso for Josh Giddey. I am actually going to smash over here. I don't like the Bulls. Zach LaVine has to prove he can still play so he can get out of there. I don't like Vooch. I don't like Giddey very much. I thought it was a good swing for them. His rim numbers are really worrying, though. There's obviously other concerns as well regarding Josh Giddey. But here's my real swing. I thought Kobe White got like quite a bit better last year, and I think they have enough creation to last losing DeMar. Again, I don't think they're going to hold the same level of wins, but I think they can survive better than people are giving them credit for. And now I'm blanking on his name too. It's been too long since we've done this. Their backup point guard, who people wanted the Bucks to snag, Ayo, has also, I think, took a pretty nice little leap last year. So I think they've actually developed some of these guards. Patrick Williams is always the same player forever. He's hurt coming into the year, which isn't good, but I think they can win like 29 games at least.
I'm going under.
Oh wow!
I think this is the Caruso trade was kind of a slight indication. Like, yeah, we're cooking this thing. Like, I don't think Zach LaVine makes it as a Bull for the rest of the year. DeMar DeRozan has honestly been one of the better players in the Eastern Conference for the last couple of years. Like,
they should retire his number. I mean, he held up that franchise for his whole tenure.
He really did. 24 points per game on 48% shooting. Like, we're all like everything is blown out of proportion because Giannis did 30 on 60, which is just like ridiculously insane. Like that's like that season alone gets you into the Hall of Fame type numbers. But DeMar doing what he did last year, like he's getting to the line a bunch. He's making it. He was actually passing the ball pretty well. Like, he was a complete player for the Chicago Bulls and exactly what they needed, and he is gone. I don't know how they're really going to replace it. Zach LaVine does not want to be there. No. Vooch is just wow.
Your buddy, your pasta buddy is sad.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad. But, like, enjoy touring the restaurant scene, my guy. You'll really enjoy it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
You're talking me out of it.
Like, Andre Drummond was sneakily really good for them. He's gone. Like, your guy Javonte Green is gone. Like, it's a lot of pretty dependable players just gone, and especially your best player being gone. It's tough to come back from that.
I agree. I think they're worse, but I think they're like 30 games. Again, last year's Nets won 32. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, they're as good as they were, but I think they can hold on The wing depth concerns me. The big depth, the big overall big situation confirms me. Thanks for giving Vooch that stupid contract that almost lost the Bucks. Brook Lopez, that worked out really, really well for you, Chicago. Bad organization for sure. I'm going to stick with the over, but I don't feel good about it.
I just don't get it. I think
Jalen Smith backup center terrifies me. So their pick is the other thing you pointed out with the tanking. I think it's top 10 protected this year to the Spurs, so they don't want to be a play-in team. I will say that. I don't think they want to lose this pick.
I will say, as something I should counter, saying one reason I could say that being an over is if Buzelis comes in as an immediate contributor, which I think he has a good shot to. I think he's one of the most ready prospects out there, and I think he's going to be really, really good for them. So we'll see about that, but I could see him being a swinging piece.
Yeah, because they just need reliable
now
two-way
I don't
wings.
feel good about it.
I don't think there's any world where you talk about the Chicago Bulls and feel good about it, Rohan. That just comes with the territory
here. Who do we got next year on this weird list? We have the Toronto Raptors. 30.5 wins is the line. Last year, they were at 25 wins.
Yep.
And listen, a lot of this is just going to be, hey, Scotty, you got the keys now. We're doing the Giannis thing. We're making you the point guard. In a few years, they'll be like, yeah, maybe we should just not have him be the point guard. And then it might be for the best. But if it leads him to being Giannis, I think that's worth it. But it's a tough one. I don't love this team. I really don't. Do you bank on the Emmanuel quickly getting better? The one guy who I think is really going to starve and show out for them this year is RJ Barrett.
Yeah,
I think RJ is gonna feast. Ever since he got to the Raptors, he was playing really, really, really well. And with there kind of being a void is oh man, who's really going to take charge here? Is Scotty more a secondary type guy? Toronto fans are going to get mad at me for saying this, but they already don't listen. They already don't like me, so it's fine. So, but I think RJ could kind of be the guy for them.
Yeah, he was last year. That's my big question for them is, does he hold that up? And then the other question is can they find any depth? Can Grady Dick be a useful player and not just a fun rookie who shoots? They need to find some depth and wins there. Not win, they need to find on-court wins, but developmental wins I think is really important. They have Agbaji now, right? Can he be a player for them this year? Because I don't love their depth at all right now. We actually do have at least one Raptors listener who commented on YouTube following along to root for Gary Trent Jr. So I'm going to respond to the positivity with positivity. I think it's a good line. I'm going to go slight over. I think Toronto pokes into the low 30s here, little developmental year. I really like the three-man pairing to start things off of Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickley. They kind of just put their old trio in a time machine in certain ways. I'm not saying they're all like for like, but I like that a lot better going forward than Scotty, Pascal, and OG, who it's clearly it was the timelines weren't adding up, the salaries weren't going to work, everything else. Those guys wanted to move on. I think they have three. I like those players. They have good center depth because they keep trading picks and young players for centers for some reason, but they have Pirtle, and I believe they also have Kelly Olynyk now. So that's actually really good varied center play, which is important. So I'm going to go slight over for Toronto.
I think that's fair. I think I'm going to go slight over as well. I mean, you lose Gary Trent.
That hurts.
Jaden McDaniels wasn't really great for them, but I mean, he was always the second one,
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I'll go slight over because I've been taking the under on some other teams, so I think I have to really make things even out.
Yeah.
But I'll say over.
All right, another rare one we agree on. Next up, this could be interesting. Philadelphia 76ers, 52.5. They won 47 last year. Obviously, it was kind of a gap year for them. The year before, they won 54. The year before that, 51. So they've kind of hovered around this number. And again, last year, it was Boston at 64, and then no other team won more than 50. So could that happen again? I kind of think it could, although I have the Bucks higher, so I'll spoil that. 52.5 is a good number. Where are you leaning here? I don't know yet.
I'm gonna go slight under. I'll say like 50. I'll say
Okay.
like 50, 51, something like that. I mean, obviously the big thing is, they got Paul George, right? Like
Yep. Yep.
you get Paul George. You have Tyrese Maxey playing well. Like Joel Embiid should hopefully play more than, what did he play, 39 last year for the Sixers? Like,
Yeah.
does he play more than that? Like, hopefully, but also maybe not. It's like,
Yeah.
you never know really there. Uh, it's you're relying a lot on a guy like Paul George. I like Paul George. I really like Paul George as a player. I think he's going to fit in well with the Sixers, so he doesn't have to be a second star. He can really be a third star. But the first year of the Nick Nurse era did not go very well, and we'll see how that really plays out. Like, I think Tyrese should be their clear second guy, but I don't know if that's really how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
But Paul George as your third option theoretically is truly an embarrassment of riches. Like, it's really good. They've really rounded out into form. They got Caleb Martin, they got Reggie Jackson, they've got Eric Gordon,
Kyle Lowry, Andre Drummond.
yeah,
Not all of
Yabu
these names.
Gershon Yabusele.
Not all of these names move me. I will tell you that. I hear people talk about all their great findings, and I'm like, I would take the top 3 minimums the Bucks signed over any 3 minimums they signed, personally. I think I agree with you on the slight under. I just think, like, even if Embiid plays more, everyone is like, oh, they have to be playoff focused. Like, he shouldn't push to play 65 if he's going to miss some games. Like, I think he's probably going to be on board with that, and I think they're going to have more playoff goals than regular season goals. And I think their depth, like, I think you fill out a lineup okay, but I look at, okay, Paul George misses a game or Embiid misses a game, then I think they look really thin. And it's not fair to judge them in like a playoff setting on that. Obviously, you're always screwed, but like, I don't know if they're built to really well withstand a week without Embiid. And I know it's like, oh, they have Drummond now. It's the best backup center of the era. Like, sure, that's fine. He's still obviously not going to be able to give you anywhere close to the impact. I think that's more important in games where Embiid does play, that maybe you don't fall off a cliff. Maybe you still do. Again, obviously, vastly different players. But I think that's where they could end up being closer to like 50 than the mid 50s. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go slight under as well with Philly. Also, like
Anthony Melton
learning how to play together.
departing is kind of, yeah. It's going to be like, they've had some sneaky bad additions. Like Melton left, Batum left. Batum was like a 40% 3-point shooter for them.
Yeah, won a playoff game.
I'm going to take the slight under. I don't know if I really believe in this team. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to contend to win the East, but you gotta make it out of the second round. Like, you gotta have some sort of a reputation to be able to do this. Like, in fact, like, James Harden has done more as an NBA player than Paul George has, and they had James Harden and it didn't work.
Yeah,
and Embiid has not done it. Maxey hasn't done it. No one's done it. Nick Nurse is going to be doing the.
Caleb Martin's their biggest dog.
Yeah,
and Lowry, I suppose, is like 38 years old now.
This has to be the last Lowry year, right?
I feel like he's never leaving.
It has to be. Like, he's just going to keep sticking around like DT.
Yeah, crawl under players, everything else. Kyle Lowry.
But like, does Eric Gordon move the needle for you? Like, is he better?
That's what I'm saying. All these players you list, like Caleb Martin is fine. I think as a starter, he's maybe a little overbilled. Drummond's a good backup center. Like, all the rest of these players, I'm like, I don't factor that player at all. That player would not play on a very good team. Like, we're gonna fall for this Olympics thing with Yabu, like we do with Patty Mills every 4 years. I like Yabu.
Like, I mean, you'll never hear me. Yeah. And like, you had exceptional years from guys. Like, Kelly Oubre was playing really well for you last year. Is he going to be able to do that again? Like, it's a lot of that. Like,
yeah.
Also, is Tyrese Maxey just going to, like, there's no reason to doubt he's going to continue being that guy. But like, what does a little slip from Tyrese Maxey look like? He's still a very, very young player.
Did you see Nathan Marzion's tweet about flirting versus harassment?
I did not.
Not the actual concept of those two things, but the meme where Dame's or Maxi's numbers, which are worse than Dame's numbers in terms of both efficiency and per 36, and Maxi's are flirting and Dame's are harassment. I was like, that's interesting. That was my reality. That's interesting.
It is interesting. We'll talk about Dame in a little bit. But
yeah, not too long now.
We're both saying under.
Yeah, we're both saying under. I'll let you talk about your Detroit Pistons. You were just there, scout them in person, visit with your close friend, Cade Cunningham. They were 14-68 last year, but they added a wins machine head coach in the regular season and a lot of good players. The line is 25.5. Rohan, why should we pound the over on your Detroit Pistons?
They have actual NBA players. I think that's a big deal. And it speaks a lot to where they were last year, where it's like, bro, Tobias Harris is better than like most of, like he would have been their best player last year. Like, yeah, assuming like you get a healthy Cade this year, which is going to be the biggest swinging point. Just got a 5-year deal. Like, can you get more out of Cade than like what you did last year? I know he played a lot of games last year. Like, what did he? Was it 62? But like, and he was great. Cade was awesome. I need like there to be other players on that team. Like Tobias Harris is there. Malik Beasley is there, who played like he started on a almost 50-win team last year. Yeah. Tim Hardaway Jr., actual NBA player, not good enough on a finals team, but he was there. You get Paul Reed, who was like acclaimed as a backup center. B-ball Paul. God, if Shams goes to ESPN, we're just gonna every ESPN headline is just gonna be B-ball Paul gets 2 rebounds in a blowout loss to the Bucks or something. I don't know. But you have actual NBA players, right? Like you're not relying. Like let me look at who was their minutes leaders in minutes. Like Isaiah Stewart is still there. That's good. But I'm going through like Killian Hayes played 42 games for them. Started 31 games for them. Like Alec Burks, Isaiah Livers, Quentin Grimes. Like Quentin Grimes was hurt, so I guess that's not really a thing. He played 6 games. But like, who are these people? Like, why is Marcus Sasser starting 11 games for you? I think he's fine, but like, you don't need to do that. Like, I don't get it. Like, Kevin Knox started 11 games for the Pistons last year.
New Warrior.
Yeah. Oh man, I talked about the Warriors on our premium episode, but. It's a team like you talk about this all the time. Like Simone Fontecchio changed their life. Imagine what Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, and Tim Hardaway Jr. are going to do.
I agree. I think it's almost an easy over for me. I think they need a little bit of internal development. I think Cade. I think the jumper looks good. He needs to hit the threes a little more consistently, and I think Duren needs to take a step forward defensively. I do think Bickerstaff will help a lot, especially with that second one. I think this is a very good coach for this team to get them playing respectable ball. I don't know how much Ron Holland and Bobby Klintman helped them year one, especially Holland, but I was high on both of those guys. I don't know if they're going to factor much into this. If anything, maybe a slight negatives. But there's also a lot of guys. I don't think those guys are like guaranteed to play a lot of minutes if they don't look ready. I'm going to go over. I mean, I just think... I think the NBA players, I think the young development, like Asar Thompson had some really good moments last season. They're a little light on shooting, but they did bring in some veterans who you can basically just be like, let's just always have 2 of Fontecchio, Beasley, Harris, and Hardaway Jr. And at least we have some guys who are going to be able to knock down threes. Whereas last year, pre-Fontecchio, they just had no one. I mean, there was just no one who could do it. So they're a lot farther ahead there. I think they can be respectable. I think they can win 26 games. I'm with you on the over.
Maybe this is the year they actually prove me right. And
I think it has. If it doesn't, then they never will. Trade every player if they're under 25.5 this year.
And it's like, oh, are they gonna fight for a play-in spot? Is this the year? Is this the year?
Might be.
I'm going over.
I'm with it. The last one before the Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 48.5. They won 48 last year. That is fitting. They did nothing in the offseason. They just signed Isaac Okoro, so we got that business done. They drafted Jalen Tyson. They brought back Tristan Thompson from the broadcast booth again. ESPN maybe couldn't match the offer. And that's the team. I think they're
You have
really
no
good.
reason to take PEDs if you're on ESPN.
I mean, I don't know. Try and, look a little bigger next to Kendrick Perkins, who's a pretty intimidating guy. Maybe that could get you started. I know I'll never be on his level of intimidation, though, after my run-in with him at the G League game. They had such a weird year. They looked like they kind of sucked. Then everyone got hurt. Then they were good. Then they lost in the playoffs again. They beat Orlando in the first round. I really like Donovan Mitchell. The whole thing for me probably just swings on how good Evan Mobley is this year. Like, if he doesn't take a step, I think they're right around here. If he does take a step, I think they're 50. I've been kind of a hater. I'll just say over because I feel like I've gone under too much. I'll do the opposite of what you did.
I'm going to say slight under. I think this is a team, like, again, they weren't really that healthy last year. I mean, they had, how many players played 80? I mean, the guys who led in games played, George Niang played 82 games for the Cavaliers. Yeah,
wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't know if I want that necessarily. Jared Allen at 77, Max Strus at 70, and then it's like, okay, Karis LeVert 68. When are we going to get to their good guys? Like Isaac Okoro 69 is like, oh, when are we going to get to the good guys? Dean Wade 54. Oh no, we're still going. I guess like Darius Garland 57, Donovan Mitchell 55, but then it's just not enough. It's not enough games. Like this is a team that's just consistently banged up. They have a new head coach this year, so we'll see how that really works out for them.
Kenny Atkinson.
Kenny Atkinson honestly makes me regret saying under because I just believe so much in Kenny and his ability to really maximize. I wanted him, like, there's no secret. It's not like I wanted him over Doc, like 100%. I'm drinking the Doc Kool-Aid now, but like I'd still take Kenny Atkinson. I'd still 100% take Kenny Atkinson. But it's I don't know. I think especially with like the top of the East and like the middle of the East. I don't know. This one, it's a tough one. Like I could really go either way with this.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the harder ones just because it's right on and they really haven't changed much.
Yeah. It's the same team, right?
Yeah. New coach. Oh, by the way, weirdly good cycle for hiring coaches. I don't think anyone did bad.
Yeah.
I like Fernandez. So. I like Atkinson. I'd certainly like our guy. Oh my God. Why can I not remember any names? It's not even early. It's noon. Charlotte's new head coach. Obviously, I'm been a fan of since he was with Charles Lee with the Bucks. I feel like I'm forgetting one, or like I just wasn't that familiar with one. But overall, like very few like true retreads. A lot of people that have a lot of fans around the league.
Yeah. It was a good cycle. Too bad the Bucks had to.
They're fine.
Midseason.
No other doctors.
Yeah, fair. That is fair. I said under. I think I'll stick with it.
I'm gonna go slide over.
I'll say they win like 48.
That would be kind of funny.
I think it's time, Ty. We've reached the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, first on this list for some reason. 50.5 wins. This is very easy for me to say over.
Me too.
Very
it's anticlimactic.
It's 50.5 is crazy for a team that went through all of the turmoil that they did last year, had all of the guys listening near the end. Like Giannis didn't play for the last couple of weeks of the season, and they still won 49 games. Like this is a team with a Damian Lillard who will look like, bro. Like I'm not one to talk about like other people's body types. Like that's not my space. That shouldn't be anyone's space.
Love where
that dude looks. The dude looks different. Dude looks different. You like
highly motivated too.
You do comparison images of like him in training camp now versus him last season. It's like, oh my God, that's what he looked like last year.
He's a little puffy.
He's a little puffy, but it's like, and he talked at length about this. We're not saying anything that hasn't been said, but it's like, yeah, I didn't have a full training off season. I couldn't really play basketball because, you don't want to get hurt before getting traded. And it's like, okay, here's where we're going, new city, blah, 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 blah. We've talked all about this over and over again. this team should win way more than 49 wins that they had last year. They kind of just scraped their way to the finish line. We all know the record with Doc. It was bad in the second half of the season. All this team has done is get better in every single facet, right? Like there is not a single area for this team in which they got worse, like theoretically. Like they upgraded their starting two guard position. They upgraded their bench. They upgraded all of their like guys. Like literally upgraded a young guy. Chris Livingston's like 6'7.5" now.
Yes.
Like he physically upgraded these guys. So
upgraded Dame's muscles.
Yeah.
His boxing a bunch. Our friend of the pod, Jim Lazarski, wrote a great article going into his boxing workouts and specifically what he does. I might pick this up. Maybe I'll look like that by next training camp.
Boxing's hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's not actually boxing people, thankfully, but he's doing the workouts. No,
but like boxing training, even that is hard.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dame shared a video from Bucks, like I think pre-camp, because I don't think camp is open, but him driving past Gary Trent and laying it up through Brooke Lopez and Chris Livingston. I think I watched it 6 times in a row. I was like, this is beautiful. I can't wait. The defense didn't look great from any of those 3 players, but I was like, I can overlook that. It's Dame. No one can guard him. I can't wait, man. Over. Agree with you. Better coach, better players. You'd hope a better situation. They had a pretty awful, like in terms of quote-unquote luck last year. Giannis misses a bunch of time at the end. Chris misses time with his ramp-up and significant random injuries. Dame, we've talked about, went through the no-workout summer. Like, everything was kind of bad. Those things shouldn't theoretically be better now. The players are better. The coach is better. Over. Let's start the season. I'm ready, Rohan.
I'm so ready. You don't have to deal with Jay Crowder. You don't have to. I feel weird. I didn't call him boss man. I think I finally realized. I think I finally realized that he's not on the team anymore. I can't wait for the announcement.
They may still list him on the roster, which I always find funny.
I can't wait for the announcement at 10 minutes after we record that they're bringing Jay Crowder back for a workout or something. But I mean, like every single facet of this team is improved. It's been a great offseason. Obviously, they have the biggest departure of all time. Sorry, Thanasis. I'll miss.
Still going to be around.
Still going to be around. I hope. But yeah, like it's going to be a good team. It's going to be a better team. You could take this team last year where they had all this turmoil and all these bad players and say, yeah, they should have won more than 50 games. So with this upgraded version of this team, yeah, easy. Yeah. And the best part is we've done all this without even talking about Giannis.
Yeah.
Or
Liam Robbins.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, Giannis, I think, is poised to have, again, an incredible season. This was like a lesson Dame, and the chemistry was bad and all the things behind the scenes. And he had the 30-point, 60% season you referenced earlier. Think about what he could look like if the chemistry is good in their 2-man game with a real coach the whole year. Like, the ceiling for this team is clearly championship. And I think their floor would be above this. Because I think we found their floor last year. They won 49 games. I think they're better than last year.
That's not even the floor. I feel like they went into the basement a little last year.
They were digging a trench.
Yeah, and they still won 49 games.
Yeah.
And clearly, like 49 games is not like a good thing. Like I think that sets the expectations and sets why we're just so adamant about the over. And it's like 49 games was an absolute disappointment last year. Horrible. Like worst season in a while. Like the Bucks have just been a regular season wins machine for the last couple of years. I think what is it?
The winningest since the first Bud year, right?
In the last 6 years, they've led the NBA in wins 3 times.
Yeah, and I think overall percentage they do as well.
Yeah, it's a crazy regular season wins machine, and they're like obviously they've won a title in that time, so it's not like postseason. It's too much of a problem. It has been the last 2 years, but that's more of an injuries thing. This is a team that's just been getting unlucky the last couple of years, but still managing to produce 50.5. It's disrespectful, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I knew we'd both do this. I think everyone listening knew we'd do this. Hopefully no one's too disappointed that this was obviously coming, but we're not going to lie about how we're feeling about the Bucks, and I think it's very easy to be very optimistic about the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. This team is poised for great things this season, and we can't wait to experience it all with you.
Yeah. Subscribe, tell your friends. Let's get ready for the season. We'll be doing our stock market IPO soon because Rohan remembered it, which is miraculous because I've not thought about the Buck stock market in months. And we can't wait for the season to start. We're so close. Media day. Oh, we're going to react to every single quote. It's going to be great. So
I mean, we're already getting like at the Junior Bridgeman stuff. There's a lot of players there. Like Dane's there. Yeah. He's talking with Junior Bridgeman. It's like who else
Chris was there. Took pictures with
Chris
them.
was there. Was
Brooke Lopez there? Yep. Brooke was
Giannis? There. Where's Giannis?
Giannis is golfing. He posted him golfing today.
Is he in Milwaukee?
I don't think so.
Giannis, like,
he's pulling at you. He's pulling at you. He's seeing the world.
I guess. I also. That's fair. That's fair. I think it speaks levels that like Dame is there already though.
100%. All this Dame unhappy Milwaukee stuff is dead. He's not. He loves it.
This dude was winning awards in Portland like a couple days ago. Like I think he got a Bill Walton Memorial Award, which was great. It's just celebrating his life and legacy, and he's still here reporting for mini camp. It looks like not even like training.
I love it. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
I know.
But yeah, I saw Liam Robbins is there, CL is there, DeLon Wright was there on the court. So a lot of the team honestly is already there, and there could be more that we just
AJ Green is there.
Ryan Rollins I also saw. So yeah, really good turnout so far, and probably just more to come in the coming days. I think Ajax as well, and AJ Johnson's been there for like ever. AJ Johnson's been playing a lot of basketball, so good for him.
Good, he needs it.
Yeah,
so
still excited though. I think Tyler Smith is there too.
Oh, nice.
I think I saw a pic of him with Bango recently. So
nice.
Would rather see him on the court, but still a cool thing.
Everything's coming together, and like I said, we'll have things covered for you all season long here at GSPN and other Gyro Step. But make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to this or watching on YouTube. Make sure you check out gspn.info where you can sign up for a GSPN premium subscription. If you want to hear about the West, we talked about this, where it's not on this feed, it's on our premium feed, GSPN After Dark. You also get commercial-free podcasts, you get exclusive written content, you get the exclusive pod, like I mentioned, tons of bonus stuff, $8 a month. Sign up to be ready for the season. But yeah, wherever you're listening, watching, make sure you subscribe to all your family and friends. Buck season's coming up. Got to share the love. Pod random, and we'll talk to you next time.